Jon, what's one of the most proud moments that you had here in the mission and ministry of Asbury?
One of the most proud moments, it would probably be something that spread out over time, is that whenever there was a need in the community, someone would need help, there was always someone that I could look to that would step up and meet that sometimes very large need.
Yeah. Deb, how about you? What was your most proud of moment?
Oh, I think the mission trips and the way in which you all had just done one of them with Benton before I came. And they took that on, and it just became a wonderful event in the life of the church, and so much so that then the youth said, when is our year to go? And then it became a youth trip as well.
Yeah, that's a change to include the youth in that. But is there other change that when the change happened, maybe it was hard to imagine at first, but then it ended up being better?
Well, I think when I talk to you about leadership, I think some of the leaders who had to give up the reins, and that was hard. We had some hard discussions, kind of like with your father. LD and I had a little drag-out fight in the church office. But then he knew it was his time to let go, and he trusted us. There were people like Bruce and Jerry and Joyce and just a lot of people, and Carol. I mean, LD wasn't going to give up the lay leadership unless it was Carol that took it on. So that laying down of the old mantle and picking up the new.
Yeah. Jon, was there a change that seemed hard, but when you happened, it was better?
Yeah, so when I came, I found this congregation to be loving and accepting, but I found that there was a need to really solidify that. So we took the steps to become a reconciling church, and I was really nervous about that. But then when it happened, it was overwhelming, overwhelmingly accepted, and it really focused us on who we are and who we've always been. But I thought it was going to be hard, but it wasn't.
Yeah, and that's something. Sycamore Creek is inclusive and affirming of LGBTQ people, and you did that work here, and we did that at Sycamore Creek, and now those two values just fit together really nicely. Is there a story for you, Jon, of how God showed up in kind of a surprising way during your time here?
It wasn't surprising. Well, the fact that I'm seeing the pattern. I'm seeing what the past pastors have said about the feeding ministries and how this congregation has always fed people. And it just has continued, and I'm seeing it all fit into its proper place. We put the tiny pantry out front. We're raising money for the Southside Community Kitchen. God has always showed up in this place through food, I think. And it wasn't so surprising, but it was just always affirming.
Yeah. Deb, was there ever a moment where the Spirit surprised you? You're like, oh, wow, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, the night of September 11th, when the towers fell, we decided to go ahead with our disciple Bible study, which was in its infancy that fall. And there was lots of chatter about who the enemies were. Brianna Clover was part of that disciple Bible study, and she looked at Ray Sivers and said, do you think maybe we're supposed to love our enemies? Changed the whole atmosphere of that Bible study, and yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
From our youth.
Yeah.
What we had taught them, they reflect back to us and then makes us look in the mirror too.
Yeah. It's such a humbling moment when your kids reflect back to you something you've told them that you're not doing. What does this adoption mean for you, Deb, as you look back on your time here and think to the future?
I think it's a continuation. I mean, the strength of the people that have always been here get lent to the strength of Sycamore Creek, and the building which which we honored and loved gets changed. And as hard as that is, there's something exciting about that too. I mean, this didn't look like this when I was here. And you all changed it, and it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. John, what is, you were the pastor that led into this adoption. What does this adoption mean for you?
It's so life-affirming. We saw sort of the future if we didn't do something different. And the fact that the folks here at Asbury made the courageous decision to put vision ahead of their preferences, to trust God, that God would be here, because God's always been here. It's very life-affirming for me.
Yeah, yeah. Friends, will you join me in thanking Pastor Jon and Pastor Deb this morning? Thank you.